everybody. And thank you for turning up for our session on 3XD. And it's all very exciting to have you all on board and able to use us. So I'm just going to do a little introduction. So I know you can see our names, but I'm Becky, one of the account managers here for the intermediary support team. And then we've got Sarah.
Hi. Okay.
And then we've got Tegan in the corner, who will be coming on the intermediary support team as of the 1st of April. So Tegan's here to listen in, to just absorb it all and just see what sort of stuff we discuss and cover off. If you've got any questions as we go through, if you use the messaging system, Sarah will be there to respond, and I'll discuss anything that's a hot topic as we go. So I'll share my screen. The plan is to run through a quotation. I'll do residential first and then landlords. And I'll run through any hot areas that we need to be looking at and remembering as we go through a quote. So let me just share my screen. So we should all be able to see the website now. So this is, when you log in, this is the screen it'll take you to. So it's acknowledging that I'm logged in as me. And, oh, somebody else coming in. And then down here, start a new quote. You've got the option for the home insurance, landlord's insurance and mortgage payment protection, which is something that we all, we do as well. And underneath, any existing quotes that you have processed, you'll be able to see here and select and return to it to either continue the quote, revise it, whatever you need to do. So we're going to start a new quote as we go. So we'll start with a residential. So it's all basic information, all really simple, all stuff that the customer should know. So the first box is the advisor reference. This is quite handy if you've got multiple people processing quotes on one login, and you can just differentiate who's processing what. That will only show on internal correspondence. That won't be on any customer correspondence that we send out. So I'm not very creative, guys, so I'm just going to do it in my details, because I should know those, hopefully. Let's have a look. Anything that has a drop down box, if you can select off the list, that way it picks it up accurately. At this point, you can add a second applicant if you want to, or if it's in sole names, you can leave it in the one. So that's the personal information. Now we're looking at the insured property, or the property that we're going to look at providing a quote on. So I'm just going to pick a random address. And it pre-fills it all, and as you can see, the green tick, so it says that it's happy with the information that's populated. So the policy start date is a risk factor. Currently, quotes are valid for up to 28 days. We are in final discussions with the underwriters to get that extended, so that's quite exciting and a massive sort of game changer for 3XD. So I'm going to peg it for 28 days, just so it remains valid. But the one thing you do need to remember, if you go in and change that start date, the price may change. So we need that as accurate as possible at first port. So property type, we've got a good range of property types in there. If there's something a bit obscure, just ring us and we'll advise you of how to input it onto the system. We do have an answer for most things. So let's have a look. Listed properties, we can do grade listed properties, but what we'd need to do initially is to produce a quote with a no listing to make sure that Aviva are quoting. It would go through our non-standard arrangement, which we'll pick up on at a later part of the session. Year build, I think this is the one area that some customers can struggle with. But yeah, we do need as an accurate year build as possible. If the customer tells you it was built in the 60s, use 1960 because that's worst case scenario of that pocket of time. But the more accurate, the better. So alarm type. So currently this isn't a risk factor. So the price won't change whether it's got an alarm or it loose with using the alarm, I'd select no alarm because that's worst case scenario. Mortgage lender, not a requirement for us, but maybe for the lender themselves, so that can be entered on there, and that will show on the correspondence that we issue to the client. So down to the nitty gritty of building the quote. So we've got the buildings cover. We've got 2 levels of cover. We've got up to 500,000 rebuild and up to 1 million. If the customer's unsure or it's there or thereabouts over the threshold, select the 1 million. There's probably only a couple of pounds difference in it, because the underwriters will have behind the scenes rates for that particular property anyway, and how it's made up. So if the customer's unsure, what we don't want to be is in a position where they're underinsured. So no claims discount. First time buyer, they'll get 2 years discount automatically from selecting that option, or you can select what they're carrying forward with them. If you've got one party, you've got a joint policy, one party is a first time buyer and one's got an existing insurance in place, whichever way would best make the cheaper premium you can do. So if he's got 10 years or more and she's first time buyer, select the 10 years, it's a bigger discount. But that's absolutely fine. Coming down to the contents insurance. So we've got 2 levels again. We've got up to the 60,000 or up to the 100,000 replacement value. The most important thing to remember with these figures is you get 20% of the sum insured for valuables. So your jewellery, watches, your collection, your furs, your precious metals, those sorts of things, 20% of the sum insured. So you got a young man, he's fresh into working, he doesn't have a great deal of contents, but he's got an expensive watch, so he would need the higher level, even though he hasn't got much else in the way of content. 20% of the sum insured. So again, same principles apply for the no claims discount on the contents. I've got any questions as we've been
No,
going?
there's no questions.
No. So accidental damage. What comes as standard is your fixed glass, your double glazing, the cost of replacing frames. What was the word I couldn't think of the other day? Sanitary ware. There we go. Solar panels, yeah. And underground drains pipes, sewer pipes, cables and tanks that provide services to and from your home for which you are responsible. And that includes the cost of breaking and repairing a pipe between the home and the main sewer. Even normal methods of releasing a blockage are unsuccessful. The examples we use in here for extended is things like a slip tile on the roof. If that was going to allow rainwater through and cause damage to the internals of the building, that would be covered under the extended accidental damage. And also, if you were in the attic and your foot slipped through the ceiling below, any damage that caused would be covered under that section. And also, if you're hanging something on a wall and you damage the wall and its surroundings, that would be covered under the extended for buildings. So it's completely optional, whichever what the customer feels most comfortable with. And for the contents, you've got what's covered as standard is your TVs, your DVDs, your video and audio equipment, business equipment that belongs to you and is situated within the home, and also fixed glass in freestanding furniture and mirrors. And what's the other one?
The contents, accidental damage to
Like satellite decoders.
yeah.
Satellite decoders.
Audio
Yeah. So it's all available in the policy wording, which is under documents up here. So quite a good range of cover with options in there. We've got 2 great little policies to uplift that cover, which is your legal expenses. So that's £1.95 per month, and it covers up to £100,000 in the event that you need legal assistance for property damage, property infringement, data protection, school admission disputes. Go on, girls.
Yeah. Consumer tax disputes.
Yeah, consumer pursuits. So the full range of areas there. Again, all the information is on the documents. So it's a cheap policy, which gives reassurance to the client in the event that they need any legal assistance. And another great one to add is the home emergency cover. So this is £3.15 a month, but it covers up to £1,000 in the event that the customer needs emergency help in the event that there's an issue with the boiler, so the boiler's failed, the plumbing and drainage, the main power supply, home security, so they can't lock the front door, so the security's at risk for the property. They'll come out and either fix the lock or replace it. Vermin infestation and damage to the roof. So we were talking about the slip tile on the accidental damage that was going to allow rainwater through. The home emergency cover would come out and make that property watertight. It might not be a permanent fix, but it would certainly stop any further damage to that property. So both cracking little additions there. Okay, so specified items. So this is an area that we need to really be aware of because it does catch people out. So I spoke earlier about the limits for the levels of cover for your valuables, depending on which contents level you took. So here it's just a reminder, and the specified items for us is for information purposes only. It isn't a chargeable item that you're adding. We need to know about these items. So within the home, we need to know about an item which is worth £5,000 or more. So that could be your suite, your dining table or a TV, anything that's worth £5,000 or more. An item of valuable nature, your jewellery, your watches, your collections, your furs, your precious metals, where it's worth £2,000 or more. And anything that you're planning to take away from the home that's designed to be carried about the person, so where it's worth £1,500 or more. So that could be an item of clothing, a handbag, a pair of shoes, a watch, anything that is designed to be taken away from the home. We need to know about that. So let's just add a specified item. So we need a valuation. So we always recommend that the customer keeps up to date with the valuations to make sure the insurance is up to date and correct. Because what we don't want again is for the customer to be underinsured. So this item is automatically covered within the home. And here it's asking, do you intend to insure it away from the home or just within the home? So then we can guide you further on what cover you may need. So I'm going to select, yes, I'm intending to wear it outside of the home and I want it insured. So I'm just going to add that down. So now it'll take me to the personal belongings cover. So it knows that I've got an item of a jewellery that I'm going to wear away from the home. So it's suggesting that I need £8,000 worth of personal belongings cover. And that is just a suggested amount. But actually, I might want slightly more than that to cover the other items that I don't need to specify because they're under the limits. And this is the area that will be the chargeable factor, not the specified items. Specified items is for information. Okay, any questions on that one? Anything that's
No,
no
through, no, very quiet.
I'm being very efficient. I
You
think that's
are.
okay. So claims history. So we only need to know about claims in the last 3 years for any loss or any damage, whether insured or not. So whether they've claimed or they've not, if they've suffered a loss, we need to know about it just so we can mark it on the policy and to prevent anything being undisclosed. Okay, and the last section is the excesses. So it's already pre-filled, and there's 2 reasons why it's already pre-filled, because it's created a quote already based on that information with the pre-filled excesses. But when we're comparing against the comparison websites, we need to go in as competitive as possible. And 350 excess seems to be quite an average for the comparison websites. So I'm going to leave that as it is because that was pre-filled. But down here, we can see the panel. So this is our current panel that's due to grow anytime soon. There's a new underwriter imminent and a few in the pipeline. So it's all very exciting. So Integra is coming out the cheapest. So this order will change per quote because it'll always put the cheapest first. And I just need to point out that this price, the monthly price of £41.32, is purely 1/12 of the annual premium. We don't charge credit fees. We do the direct debits in-house here, so it alleviates any cost by employing a third party. So this keeps the price cheap, and there's no benefit for paying annually to monthly. So it's just purely customer preference. But you can choose, or the customer can choose whichever insurer they want to select. The only thing to remember is that it will always go to the cheapest one at renewal. It'll always be invited at the cheapest underwriter at that time. And there's no difference between the underwriters. We've got common policy wording, one set of terms and conditions that are owned by 3XD that the underwriters have all agreed to. So that's great. So you don't have to think of who does what, when and how. Some of them will do additional special arrangements. So if there's anything a bit left field, a bit outside the standard terms, if you just ring or email and we can advise you how to proceed and who will cover what. So it's all really easy, really simple. And we've got a great team in-house that will be on hand to help. So Penn Underwriting, I called them Aviva before, didn't I?
Yeah.
So Penn Underwriting are our non-standard provider. So anything like construction type, criminal convictions, unoccupied properties, Penn will look at. And we've got an in-house underwriting team that we can deal with it ourselves. We don't need to refer. Majority of it we can do ourselves. So yeah, just let us know and we'll advise you of what to do. But we always want a standard quote to confirm that Penn are underwriting. So we've got a starting point. The quoting. So if they're not quoting, we won't be able to proceed with a non-standard quote, but that won't happen very often. So down here, we've got adjustments. So this is where we can sacrifice some commission. So you've got a customer that puts all his business through you, all his policies, all his protections, and you like to acknowledge that and give him a sacrifice. So that will automatically update this price here, which is great. So you can see it instantly. And also, if you've got a price that you're trying to beat, not 380, it will automatically calculate the sacrifice for you and go to the most accurate premium there. So that's quite a handy tool, or you can just leave it as it is and proceed. So correspondence, we do like to put to have the customer's contact details, and that's purely for administration purposes. In the event that a direct debit goes unpaid, for example, we can contact them quickly and get that rectified to prevent any policies cancelling due to non-payment. But we will advise you of the customer's situation. Anything that's you need to know about, you will be informed at first point, and that'll all be via email correspondence. So at this point, we can run through the declarations, or we can review the application, where all the supporting documentation is on there that you can download, you can put in your file for your compliance, you can send to the customer, whatever you need to do, you can do. Or we can go back to the declaration questions and pick up and run through those, which I'll do that with you now. So these declaration questions are answered correctly. Sorry.
We've just had a question about flooding. So we've had a question, would you cover areas close to rivers or historical flooding?
Yeah, if it's quoting and it's not previously flooded, then yes. If it's within 100 metres of a water source, we would endorse it to say so. So ring us before trading it and we can intercept that policy as it comes through. But yeah, as long as you can get a quote and it hasn't suffered flooding, then you're good to go. Does that answer that? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Okay. So like I said, these questions are answered correctly for the standard policy. If for any reason you can't answer the standard terms, just ring us. Just ring us and let us know and we'll talk you through it. So, is the property ever left unattended for more than 30 consecutive days? If your customer's has an annual holiday of 60 days in every September, we just review it you know, August time, and then apply some special terms for that period. From the policy start date, will the property be occupied by you and your immediate family only as your permanent residence? So this is to confirm we're covering your main home, and do you have anybody else living in the property? So if you've got lodgers, that's fine, we can cover it, but we need to know about it before you trade it. Any business use of the property, again, it depends on the type of business, and if they're running a beauty salon in the outbuilding, we can cover it, but it will be under non-standard with PEN. Construction type. So standard construction means it's built of brick, stone or concrete with a tile, slate, asphalt, metal or concrete roof with no more than 25% of the roof being flat. So standard, brilliant. If it's not standard, again, it'll be getting a quote with PEN to see what we can provide for you. Is the property in a good state of repair and will it be maintained? Is it currently undergoing any building works? Is your property or any nearby properties, has your property or any nearby properties within 25 metres of your property had a flood in the last 25 years? Is it located within 100 metres of the sea, river, watercourse, lake, reservoir, canal or dam? Any signs of cracking on the external walls? Any underpinning or structural support? To the best of your knowledge, have the property suffered from subsidence, movement, heave or landslip in the last 25 years? And the last three questions are regarding the clients themselves. Have they had any insurance decline, voided or special terms imposed? Any criminal convictions, and then bankruptcy and CCJs and IVAs, all of which we can cover. We just need to know what they are and have a starting point with PEN. So once we're happy that we agree to the standard declaration questions, we can continue to payment, which is your final section to providing the quote and getting the policy on risk. So we do have 3 payment dates available. Because we do it in-house, we have to restrict on how many dates we have available, because the amount of work that goes into it before, during and after is phenomenal. So we need to be realistic, and but they tend to be they tend to cover all bases anyway. If you've got a client who is paying annually and want to pay by card, that's fine, but we do prefer to have a live direct debit mandate to prevent any renewals from cancelling due to non-payment. What we don't want to be is in a position where they're underinsured, uninsured even. So once we've set that direct debit up, you read out the rest of your bits and pieces to your client, and then you submit your case. So that will come through to us, and we would process that on our internal system. We'd put capital letters where they need to be, correct the spacing, make sure any endorsements are on that need to be, and we'd issue you with a statement of demands and needs, and we'd then send out the client their document pack with a relevant policy wording, and we would post that to the customer. We're quite old school that way, quite traditional. So yeah, so we'll send them a postal version, but you don't need to issue anything unless it's part of your internal compliance process. Any further questions on there?
No.
Okay. Everyone's listening tentatively. Right, so I'll run through a landlord's insurance quote. It's very similar to the home insurance, but what's great about our landlord's insurance is we have the option for individuals to take a policy or to put it in company name, which is great if you've got a limited company customer and they want them all in that name. And also we can do non-domiciled as well. So a customer living in Spain rents his property out, that's absolutely fine. We just need to know about it, and the quote will ask. So let's have a look. So I'm just going to run through. Oh, goodness me, what am I doing there? There we go. That's better. So you can see that anything that the system can't quantify will highlight in red, so you know straight away if it's right or wrong. So the company name, and then we just need a point of contact. So we know who we're talking to if and when they ring. Okay, so the insured address. There we go. So it's pre-filling. Again, the start date is a risk factor. 28 days validity. Hopefully that will be updated very soon. Property type. Again, all very simple. If there's anything you need confirming, we'll advise you as we go. Listed properties working exactly the same way as the residential. We just need to establish that Penn are quoting. Number of bedrooms. And then the tenant type. So are your tenants professionals, retired, students, DSS, asylum seekers? If your tenants are full-time employed, but they get supplemented some tax credits or whatever it is these days, the professional, they are working, they're out there, they're paying the taxes, they're just getting additional support, you can class them as professional. If they're solely on benefits, then the DSS section, which do they call them DSS anymore? But yeah, so, benefits on the that tenant type. Again, alarm type, it isn't a rateable factor currently. So if your tenants, you can't guarantee your tenants are going to use the alarm. I just select no alarm, and then that's worst case scenario. Again, your lender can be popped in there, and that will show on the customer's documentation. And we've got one level of cover for the buildings for the landlord's property, and that's up to a rebuild of 500,000. It does very well. There's obviously a business decision that we don't want to be insuring higher than that, but I am sure that will increase with time. No claims discount. So if they are a first-time buyer of a landlord's policy, regardless of if they've got their own residential, they can have the 2 years discount. If they've got multiple properties, they can't cross over on the discount. So if they're adding to the portfolio, they would start at 0 years. If they've got insurance in place already and they're transferring it, then you can use the relevant no claims discount. So contents insurance, the analogy we use for the landlord's contents is if they were to tip it upside down, anything that would drop out that belonged to the landlord could be insurable under the contents. Everything else would be fitted kitchen, fitted bathroom, anything like that would come under the building section. So the contents, you can have different cover levels depending on what your requirements are. So we'll pop at 5,000 because we've got a bed in there and a sofa. Okay, and the same rules apply with your contents. You can transfer them, or if you're adding to your portfolio, start at 0 or first time buyer. Got some great additional cover options with the landlord's product. So you can include accidental and malicious and theft damage by the tenants to the buildings and or the contents. That's a great one. If you don't know your tenants, you're just swapping your tenancy agreement. You can add that at any time as well. It just gives you better coverage and peace of mind. We've got the landlord's emergency cover, which is the same as the residential. It is slightly more expensive at £6.50 because it's a different risk, the landlord's risk to the residential risk. So you can add that. We've got the legal expenses, which is coming in at £3 a month and covers up to £75,000 for legal assistance, which is a great one if you need assistance to evict your tenants. We'll support you with that. And if you select the legal expenses, you can have the rent indemnity insurance, which would pay for loss of rent if your tenants aren't paying. But you can only take that out in conjunction with the legal expenses because we need to be able to be making moves to get them evicted at the same time. So the rent indemnity is coming in at £9.32. And all you would do, you just need to add in what the annual income is. That's not rated. It's a fixed price. It's just information purposes. So again, claims, we only need to know about claims in the last 3 years, whether at this address or any other premises that come under the landlord's risk. But you'll be able to see on the sections that, where are we? So, that's interesting. I did think there was a section where it said at this property or any other properties, but ignore me. There we go.
Changed it.
Yeah, updated it.
Done that to mix things up a bit.
So I have missed something somewhere because let's have a look. Just scooch back through. Too busy talking.
Oh, toilet time.
Oh yeah, talked about it. There we go. Perfect. So the excesses are slightly different on the landlords. There's still options, just not just 350 is not in there in the 200. So it automatically pre-fills at the 250 to give us a stab at being competitive with the comparison websites. And down here is our panel of providers. So again, cheapest first, come and that order will change as you do your quotes. Again, monthly is purely 1/12 of the annual premium. So there's no benefit to selecting one or the other. Common policy wording, they all ensure our terms and conditions, and if there's anything in left field, again, just let us know and we'll advise you on who's happy to cover what that's outside that standard term. You've got your commission sacrifice again, and correspondence of details, they do need to be different. I can't remember my postcode. They do need to be different because we need to guarantee that the landlord is getting their documents. So if they're abroad, include an email address because we'll sit them on an email and send them to them. And up here, let me just look at the non-domiciled bit. I think I scooched past that a bit quickly. Oh, because I've done it in a company name. So if it's in an individual, it'll ask you, do you reside in the UK? If you select no, please type and then select from the drop down box so it registers it correctly. Let me just now I've changed it. Second. Is there any questions, Sarah Mason?
They were just, we got asked about doing non-standard policies for holiday lets and unoccupied.
Yes.
So I've answered that.
Yeah. So yeah, that's perfect. Anything non-standard wise, refer it. And we do have Brown and Brown Somerton, which is our sister company as well, that they cover things like thatch roofs or high rebuild costs.
High net worth. We just cover some stuff.
Yeah, right. So I'm just going to go back down. Oh, modus. Oh, because I'm non-domiciled. That's fine. Okay, so let me just fill in. There we go. So I'll just run through the declaration questions with you. Again, quite basic, quite simple. Nothing that they shouldn't be able to answer. So, will you have a signed short hold tenancy agreement of a minimum of 6 months in place within the next 60 days and whenever the property is tenanted throughout this period of insurance? If they go on to a rolling contract after that 60-day initial short hold tenancy agreement, that's absolutely fine. What we're trying to avoid in there is the Airbnb situation, because that would be classed as non-standard, which we can do. We just need to quote for that separately. HMO, we can cover that as standard, but it's Penn that do it. So if you were to select yes, you just need to ring us and we'd advise you how to pop that through the system. Any business use of the property, construction type, is the property in a good state of repair without any structural problems? Is it sufficiently secured, meaning access can only be gained by violent and forcible entry? Is it watertight and weatherproof? Any previous flooding? Your location to water? Are you free from any existing or previous step diagonal cracking, subsidence movement or underpinning? Is the property intended to be left unoccupied for 60 consecutive days or more? If there's a change in tenants and it goes over the 60 days, we can look at non-standard terms for them to give them greater cover. But if it's going to be 75 days, they can stay on the standard terms. It's just restricted. But we'll have that conversation with the landlord when they ring through. Has the landlord ever had their insurance declined, refused or cancelled, or had increased excesses, criminal convictions, and then bankruptcy, CCJ and IVAs again? So we can review the application at that point. All your documents are in there, so you can download those, send them to the customer so they can peruse, or you can put them on your file. And then you can just trade the case. I didn't click continue. Second, and then back to the direct debit section. So really quick, really simple. Once you're up to speed with the system, you can get a quote in 60 seconds. Really, really easy, and yeah, you don't have to remember a massive amount of information. Is there anything I've missed, Sarah?
I don't think so, no. I think really now it's just a case of maybe asking everybody if well, some will already have logins. Chai, I'm sure that you're already using us, aren't you? We're just going through a process now of moving everybody across to the new name, I suppose, of your company, Julian Harris. But in terms of the training, I think that proved useful. We showed you how to do a home insurance quote, a landlord insurance quote. I think it's like anything, when you're sort of like, you know, doing anything at all, questions will come up when you're doing your own quotes. It can't all be learned in one training session. I'm sure you'll agree. We'll be contacting you all. You'll all receive logins. If you haven't got a registration already with us, if you're new to 3XD, you'll receive new login credentials very shortly, at which point you'll have our contact details. So please feel free and ask us any questions that you have, if it's to do with logging in, our product, our services, quotations, non-standard, anything at all, just reach out to us. We're more than happy to help you. I'm not sure if you're all aware of our USPs, but I think it's really useful to know about our USPs. So with 3XD, because I'm sure you use other providers. So we pay 30% commission, that's market leading. I'm just looking funny because I've got my sideways on and I'm sat with Becky. It's all right. You got me twice. So we pay 30% commission on all products, which is market leading. That's also on the non-standard products as well, which are loaded. So very good income stream there for your non-standards as well. And we pay for the life of the policy. We also have a 90% retention rate. So anything that you do sell with 3XD, we will look after it for you and we will try and retain it. We've got a fantastic team out there that will speak to your clients and yourselves to try and look after that policy and protect it. You know, we are aware of premiums going up and we're met with challenges on a daily basis, but we will try and keep that business for you. It is really important. We also have interest-free credit. There's no credit checks or anything like that for your clients. We do all the collections in-house. So, you know, you will have that benefit as well for your clients. And they can pay monthly interest-free, or they can pay in one go. No difference in premium at all. Also, with the renewals, we send out the invitations to your clients on renewal. And you'll also receive an email copy of what that renewal premium will be. We'll look after all the administration for that. You will just might need to have a chat with your client and speak to them about the renewal, see if they're happy with it. At that point, you can call us about the renewal and make changes, or your client can. It doesn't really matter. We're here to help either of you and service you in the best way. I don't know who else you're all using at the moment. I don't know if anybody wants to sort of like turn the microphone on and tell me, or if you if you're shy, you know, maybe put it in the chat box. It'd be interesting to see who you are using at the moment and what sort of volumes you are doing with other providers, just so we can gauge some understanding of where we might fit with all that and where we can be better for you, really. Becky just run through a quote with you. You can see our panel of underwriters, both on the household and the landlords. That's always changing. People move off, people come on, which mixes things up a little bit. So it is important to just keep trying us. And, you know, maybe if you try us one day and you think, we're not competitive, don't use that as a rule of thumb. It could be the postcode, it could be the underwriter, it could be the rates at the time. There's loads of different reasons. Try us again, you know, the following week it can make a massive difference. Please, you know, don't be put off by anything that's a little bit not competitive at that moment in time, but hopefully we will be competitive because we have got some really good rates on at the moment. I don't think there's any more questions coming through. Does anybody have anything else that they want to ask me while I'm here? Ask Becky or anything? Do you want us to run through anything or show us where you get your documents, etc.? Don't think anything's coming through. Oh, somebody's typing. Kevin's typing. Oh, fantastic. Covered all bases then. Right, brilliant. Thank you for joining us today anyway. I hope it's proved really useful. As I've said, you will all receive some communication from us very shortly.
Yeah.
With all the new sort of like accounts that we're setting up for you all at the moment. So if you've got any questions, please
Yeah.
reach out.
If you've got a quote that you urgently want to have a look at, let us know. Phone, email, drop it in the chat, and we'll make sure that we prioritise your logins and getting those out. But yeah, if we're at the end of the phone, please use us. We're sat here waiting. So it'd be great to have a conversation with you.
Yeah, thank you.
Great.
Thank you
Thanks,
for coming today.
ladies.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hopefully speak to you all soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Very good, you did brilliant.